Hey everyone, if you happen to watch my wish list video where I mentioned the fragrances that I was interested in gifting myself for my birthday, which is actually today. So I get to stop talking about my upcoming birthday after today. Happy birthday to me. I mentioned that I would be doing a 30% off sale with one of my favorite perfume online stores, and that is So Avant Garde. I am an affiliate with them and a proud affiliate at that. So starting today, at the time of posting this video, all the way through Monday, January 20th, you can use the code Veronica30 for 30% off site-wide on So Avant Garde. Today, I'm going to share with you some of my top recommendations. I can't share everything, and in fact, I'm going to link down in the pinned comment and also in the description box a playlist of some of my past So Avant Garde videos if you want to check out other recommendations. My only caution before we jump in is that there are some brands that are excluded from the sale. Mind Games, Born to Stand Out, and Gravel. Please pardon my voice today, which is a little bit raspy. So there are so many brands that are sold on So Avant Garde and a lot to explore. I want to share with you some fragrances that probably could use a little bit more love. Okay, maybe some of these are hyped up and the others aren't. But some of the big brands that are on So Avant Garde include Roja is on there now, Clive Christian, Atelier d'Orange, Wilhelm Parfumerie, the House of Oud, one of my favorite brands, Widian, Fragrance Dubois, Goldfield and Banks, Initio, Juliet Has a Gun, Liquid Imaginaires, Mancera, New Notes, Parfums de Marly is on So Avant Garde, and all of the Delinas and Oriana are on there and available, all three of the Delinas. So make sure that you check that out. Those aren't the brands I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about some other brands for you and some of the favorites that I have fallen in love with that are sold on So Avant Garde. I will say, as a word of caution, if you are confident in what you want to get and you've been waiting for one of these kinds of sales, go on over and place your order now. And I don't say that to pressure anyone into buying anything at all. You do whatever you want, or you can just watch the whole video and just enjoy the content and not purchase anything at all. But for those of you that know you have a wish list, you have made your wish list and you have checked it twice, go on over because a lot of the popular fragrances sell out pretty quickly when these sales happen. I'll start off with one of the most popular brands, I think, on So Avant Garde, particularly among ladies, and that is the House of Oud. They are known for these gorgeous, artistic looking, super cool egg bottle designs. And so I'll share one from each of the houses and maybe just make some comments about the others that I would recommend in the interest of time. One of my top recommendations, particularly because we are in the cold of winter now, is this beauty here called Dates Delight. So take a look at what we call the House of Oud eggs. Forgive my ring light showing up in the glare there. Really, really pretty. They all look like this and they all come on this sort of golden base with the House of Oud stamped in here. This is a really deep and sultry fall and winter, just general cold weather fragrance. You can certainly wear this into early spring. Summer, maybe not so much. And this is known particularly for its date note. So the way that date shows up in fragrances is often as this sort of sticky, syrupy, dark, deep, fruity type of note. So if you have enjoyed dates, particularly candied dates, from the Middle East and so forth, then you know what I'm talking about, or from the Mediterranean area. Some of the other key notes in here, caramel, which lends this beautiful sweetness, tonka bean and cinnamon, and then there is some oud in the base. So the name of the house is the House of Oud. That doesn't mean that every single fragrance has oud in it, but this one does, and it is a very soft, gentle, perfumey oud. This is sexy and sultry and fantastic for cold weather, particularly for those of you that like sweet, deep, slightly spicy, sweet scents. Perfect addition. And then I won't get into the notes of these because it would take me a while and distract from the rest of the video. But one of the best deals, I think, for these kinds of weekend sales is the House of Oud Coffret. So it includes 3 of the eggs that are already discounted as part of the set. And then on top of that, you get 30% off of the price itself. And so it amounts to about $100 or so off of each of these eggs. And that is super fantastic. So included in this coffret are some of the sweethearts of the House of Oud house, some of the beloved crowd favorites, and they include Bonbon Pop, Ruby Red, and then Keep Glazed. So, and they come in this absolutely gorgeous pink, almost like linen textured box, and is fantastic for gift giving to yourself, of course. Or these would also make great Valentine's Day for the people in your life that appreciate these kinds of fragrances and would love to get something like that in that big, beautiful box. One of my top recommendations from the sale. A few other great recommendations from House of Oud, but check out the notes and see if it's something that you might be interested in. Guilty Crush, White Pearl, and Sapphire Blue would be some of my top recommendations to check out. I would also say check out the House of Gritti, and I'm going to share with you my very top favorite recommendation from Gritti, but there are a lot of beauties in this house to check out. The one I'm going to show you is worth every single penny of its retail price. and even better during the sale. And this is Duquesa. I have fallen in love with this fragrance. I happened to try this out maybe a year and a half or two ago and thought it was great. But as I always say, having the bottle in hand and spraying yourself with it is different than just using a little sample. And so when this arrived, it became an instant love. So this is very much a dark, deep, very sexy, very alluring cherry fragrance. Probably one of my favorite cherry fragrances in my whole collection. Other key notes in this fragrance that stand out to me, there's a little bit of a sort of chocolate nuance to this fragrance. It is not in the gourmand sense. It's almost like a perfumey chocolate type of note. And then there's almond and brown sugar. I think this is a fabulous fragrance. A lot of people love this, and a lot of people are wanting this fragrance. So this is one that I hope doesn't sell out before those that want it get to it. Duquesa, fabulous. So this is a very sort of creamy, bold, very sexy, very alluring fragrance, sought after. And I love that it lasts a very long time. My main complaint, of course, about Lost Cherry is that I may get half a day's wear out of this. This lasted for me through the whole day into the early evening until it started to settle down at that point. Duquesa. Now, some of the other popular Gritti fragrances are available as well, including Adele, which is a lovely floral with some muskiness and woodiness in the base, Tutu Blanc, Tutu Pink, Chantilly, Rialto, which I also own, although Rialto is probably not a safe blind buy. Maybe some of the others are. Rialto is a very, very strong, like mango oudi fragrance. And then Hysterica. Now, I mentioned in that wish list video that Hysterica was on my wish list. So that is one that I am probably going to add to cart, sort of a honey, tuberose, absolutely gorgeous fragrance. And then I know a lot of people don't talk about this line of fragrances, but Banana Republic. And I fell in love with one that I got in PR from So Avant Garde a while back. So I have my top recommendation and some others to check out. And so one of my very favorites from the line is Orris Vanille. I have talked about this in other videos. This is very much a vanilla and sandalwood fragrance, but there are some other notes that I want to call out here, especially Orris, which lends this sort of dense, powdery aspect to fragrances. It almost comes across like a creamy powderiness, which I know sounds oxymoronic, but just trust me on that. And the other is an apple blossom note. And I actually, even though I realize that apple blossom is a flower, I actually perceive this sort of crisp, apple fresh nature to this fragrance as a sort of soft accompaniment to the vanilla and the sandalwood in here. And this was an attention getter in my house. When I wore this, everyone thought that I smelled good. Orris Vanille, and these are more affordable than maybe some of the other fragrances. This is $105, so 30% of that would put it far below $100, and it's fabulous, and it has decent lasting power, although it gets a little bit softer as the day goes on. Also from Banana Republic, I would say check out Monday Rose, which has very much this sort of Delina-esque vibe and is maybe just a little bit, in my opinion, smoother, a little bit rounder than your traditional Delina. And I also really enjoy Velvet Pomegranate, as this fresh, fruity, almost like tart spring fragrance. And there's a lot on there to check out. So Banana Republic is another brand that I would recommend paying a little bit of attention to on the So Avant Garde site. Speaking of affordable, a brand that I nearly just bypassed and ended up getting some of these from So Avant Garde. And I was so happy that I did. I actually purchased some myself, and I have the full set of the women's offerings from Tumi. And Tumi is a luggage company. They start out as luggage and bags. They do backpacks. You may see them in the mall or at the airport if you are waiting around for a flight. There's a Tumi store probably in your major airports. I have a favorite from Tumi, which is Renaissance. And Renaissance smells to me very much fresh and crisp and clean in the same way that Creed Aventus for her does, but maybe not quite as powerful as that one. It's a little bit like a dash more subtle than Creed Aventus for her. But a fragrance I want to mention that I think a lot of the audience would also love is Utopia. Now, the full bottle that I have in my hand isn't available on the site, but they have the 60 ml bottle. So it will be a little bit smaller than this, and I think worth checking out. I can share with you what some of the notes of this fragrance are, but I'd rather just tell you what it smells like to me, which is a very soft, delicate, highly feminine, powdery vanilla. Fantastic for an office setting. If you want something that's feminine but subtle and not overpowering in the room, it has this sort of like bright, clean aspect to it without smelling soapy or aldehydic. Some of the notes include apple. I can't tell you that I pick up apple, peony, sandalwood, vanilla, bourbon, Madagascar. For me, this is a very soft, delicate, powdery vanilla that is absolutely inoffensive and very, very wearable by a wide array of people as long as you enjoy vanilla and some hints of powderiness. Very pretty and an excellent bargain. And definitely check out Renaissance too. I like the other two in the line as well, but those are the standouts for me from Tumi. Akro is another brand to check out. There are some sort of crowd favorites. In my opinion, Akro Glow Extrait de Parfum is one of the standouts from the house. Never mind this teeny tiny bottle that I purchased cautious, thinking that I was getting maybe something a little bit bigger, I may go ahead and purchase the bigger bottle in this sale. This is mainly a slightly, very, very slightly smoky, incensey vanilla. I think this is what I would have wanted some of the other smoky vanillas to be like because it is such a gentle fragrance and yet so deep and dark. It's kind of like a cross section to me between Parfums de Marly Altair and perhaps some of the softer aspects of something like a Baby Cat or Rosendo Mateo number 5 and some other sultry vanillas that don't have the smoky incense because I feel like the smokiness and the incense, I can't really say I picked that up a lot. If anything, it's really sort of soft in the deep, dark background players. This is primarily a soft, gentle vanilla with these really round edges to it and really sort of cocooning, enveloping. It's interesting when you read the description for this fragrance, it talks about it being a party fragrance for you to glow as you go out into a crowd or into a party setting. But for me, this actually feels a little bit more intimate and private, and I like it for that. So the notes that are called out are pink pepper. I can't say I pick up a lot of pepperiness, maybe a little hint of that. And then rose in the middle. Again, I can't say that the rose is pronounced or any floral notes are pronounced, but there's definitely something soft and feminine here. And then incense and amber and vanilla in the base. So for those of you that don't know, Akro as a line is based on familiar scents, familiar aromas that we enjoy and that bring us happiness. And so you'll see in the lineup a coffee-based fragrance, you'll see a chocolate fragrance, there's a tea fragrance, there's this sort of summer, sort of citrusy fragrance, a lot to check out. But one of the other very popular ones from Akro, and I didn't bring it in here to show you, but I do own it and love it, and that is Bake. And that is this sweet, fluffy, lemony vanilla fragrance that it really does bring a smile to my face. It reminds me of desserts and smelling sweets and all things fluffy, girly, and fun. And it's a great fragrance. So I would highly recommend that one as well. A house that I have come to enjoy and collect more from and really like most of their offerings. Some are maybe not for me, but I appreciate all of the offerings. And that is Andrea Maack, which is a fragrance house out of Iceland. And some of my top favorites include Ceramic. This is sort of a all year round beauty, but particularly for spring and summer and early fall, and one that is fantastic for office settings, for work settings in general. It's one of my favorites to take to work trips now. And some of the primary notes here are really soft apple, freesia, which tends to smell like this sort of clean, wispy, white floral fragrance. There are some other florals, Lily of the Valley, which does tend to have a bit of a soapy edge to it. And this is characterized, though, mainly as being a really soft, clean, slightly floral, musky fragrance. And so this is perfect for settings where you're going to be around a lot of other people and you want to smell clean, yet delicate and feminine and not offend anyone in the room. This is a perfect selection for that. There is a discovery set if you want to check out a number of fragrances from Andrea Maack. One of my other favorites, unfortunately, is sold out, which is just, I do want to call out one of my other favorites, which is Supernova, which I own. This is for those of you that enjoy spicy, woody, aromatic fragrances. It, I think, is very unisex, although some of you may find it masculine if you are really interested in highly feminine fragrances. For me, this is a unisex scent that smells fantastic on me. And I try to spray it on my husband from time to time, but he has his own collection, but it smells really good on me. Jusbox is a fun house to check out if you are interested in Sebastian, the Perfume Guy's fragrance 54. It is on there. I actually talk about that fragrance in an upcoming video. It is for me, a patchouli bomb, and maybe not for me, but if you are a patchouli lover, you may want to check that out. It is a strong, almost like that dirty patchouli. So if that is your thing, this fragrance would be for you. I have to give a shout out to my favorite juice box fragrance, and that is Cheeky Smile. Another one that I feel very comfortable wearing in crowded settings and wearing into work environments. This is your classic ISOE Super Ambroxan Balm. And so if you're not sure what that amounts to, it has this sort of soft, warm, gentle, very wispy, ambery thread to it. But it also smells like pencil shavings. So if that sounds attractive to you, and it does for a lot of us, I like some pencil shavings from time to time. This is just a very comforting scent. It's clean smelling, but in a woody fashion. And it very much has the flavor of those molecular types of fragrances, like your eccentric molecules types of fragrances, where it's a your skin but better smell. And it smells differently on everyone depending on how it plays off of your skin chemistry and the warmth of your skin. And so this is lovely on me and is a crowd pleaser. Another brand that I would say to check out is Atelier des Ors. They have a lot of offerings for very different fragrance tastes, something for everyone. And I'd love to talk about the ones that I love, all of them. But for the sake of time, I will mention Blue Madeleine, a fragrance that is very difficult to describe. If you're not familiar with this brand, the bottles all look like this. Some of the lines have opaque bottles or darker bottles. I particularly like this blue ombre effect on this bottle, and they all have these sort of gold flecks. These are real gold flecks in there. So this fragrance was marketed as a tea fragrance, a milky tea fragrance, Blue Madeleine. If you know Madeleine, Madeleine is like a spongy cake. It's almost like a sugar cookie to me, but it's spongy and has like a milky texture to it. Anyway, this fragrance, can I say that I pick up a lot of tea? I can't say that. What I can say to you is that this smells creamy, it smells smooth, it smells cozy, it smells slightly sweet. Did I say creamy? There's a sort of creaminess. Some people pick up more milkiness. In fact, some days this feels milky to me, other days it feels more creamy. Tonight, I say creamy, and it has a lovely, very soft, subtle sandalwood base to it. And so this is a comfort fragrance. This is an under the sweater, cozy, cocooning type of scent. It's a little bit subtle, it's not a loud projector, and it's really, really difficult to describe. But I can just say that it smells like comfort in a bottle, a warm sweater in a bottle. I have fallen down the rabbit hole of Plume Impression, a brand that I had not come to know until I became an affiliate of So Avant Garde and explored this line. And there are very many to try out as we're moving into spring. We're not even near spring. Excuse me. Excuse me. As spring will be here before we know it. Let me say it that way. I want to bring everyone's attention back to Pop Heart. All the bottles look like this, so it doesn't matter if I show you this one or another one, but they do have the name on the bottle. This is a creamy, dreamy, sweet summer and spring fragrance. I want to share the notes here because I think that's important. In the top, there's apple, pineapple, and strawberry. So when you first spray this on, you get this beautiful, sweet burst of happy, juicy fruitiness. In the middle, raspberry, rose, and magnolia. And the bottom, the base, is probably what attracts a lot of people to this. So it stays fruity throughout. And it's like a fresh, juicy fruitiness, juicy, sweet fruitiness. But there's caramel, vanilla, and musk in the base. Now, I will say that some of you may not enjoy the musk in here because it's not like a soft, cottony type of musk like what you get in ceramic. In here, you're going to get a very clean, fluffy, easygoing musk. This one has a little bit more body yaddy yaddy, a little bit more base to it. And so you have to enjoy musk to enjoy this fragrance. So think of robust, juicy fruitiness, some sweetness, and some musk and vanilla in the base, and the caramel and all of that. And so this is lovely. However, I would say check out as much as you can from Plume Impression. I haven't smelled, well, I think maybe one of them I wasn't that crazy about. I thought Elegance Curie, if you are a leather lover, is a fan, super freaking tastic leather, clean, linear smelling fragrance with some oomph to it. Now, one of the ones that I've come to really enjoy just here lately is Murmur d'Ete. Sorry, I pronounced it the wrong way last time. I called it Murmur d'Ete. Anyway, this, I won't talk about it because it's sold out, but I'll just say that it is a figgy, sandalwood, creamy, beautiful stunner of a fragrance. So if you can get your hands on that later, please do check that out. Art Nouveau is fantastic, beautiful, sort of old school, robust floral, Rivalit Imperial, and also Royal Bourbon. Those two, Royal Bourbon and Rivalit Imperial, are great fall, winter fragrances that have in different ways, different levels of spiciness and booziness in them, and they're both pretty fantastic. So this is a sleeper house. If you do nothing else, please check out Plume Impression. I feel like people sleep on this house. I certainly did. I bypassed it every time I went on the So Avant Garde site before I became an affiliate. And when you become an affiliate, you have an opportunity to explore more because you get items in PR, and it kind of opens your mind and your taste to new fragrances. So that's an exciting part of working with So Avant Garde. I want to go next to Mizensir. One of the ones that people love from this line is For Your Love. They also enjoyed Très Cher, but that one is sold out on the site. One of my favorites is Ambre Magique, which I have enjoyed from the minute that I smelled it. This one has some slight citrus, a little bit of floral, and mostly muskiness and amber together in a way that is just super intoxicating. It also has a lovely, almost like creamy base of sandalwood. So think sandalwood, musk, vanilla, enough floral to make it feminine, and a little bit of citrus to sort of brighten it up. This one plays so nicely on the skin, a very sort of warm, intoxicating smelling fragrance. I love this, Ombre Magique. Another house that I think is very much worth exploring. It's super pricey, so if you've tried these and you know you like these, now's the time to snag some of these fragrances. It is the Harmonist, and I happen to have a number of loves from this house since I've started to explore them. But the one that I'm going to point out to you, because I think it may be one of the most mass appealing fragrances for people that enjoy robust florals, this is Moon Glory. I love the name of it because it makes me think about sort of night blooming flowers that have these really sort of narcotic scents that kind of lure you in. They're creamy, they're floral, they're narcotic smelling. They kind of just there's something like really, really lovely and robust about night blooming florals. But anyway, some of the primary notes here: jasmine, ylang ylang, queen of the night, which is a floral. There's honey and some woodiness in the base. This is, for me, one of the most divine, highly feminine fragrances for those of you that are not afraid of bold floral fragrances. And this one has honey, so it has that sort of syrupy sweetness to it on top of the floral smell. And it smells like a tropical garden of smells. Not in the banana direction like some tropical florals can smell, but just really robust, really creamy, really deep florals with a lovely sweet honey that is not overwhelming and for me does not go rancid on me. Some people are they have a tough time with honey. Honey smells a little bit like urine on them. I don't know how else to say that because it is what it is, right? Not me and not this one in particular. This honey stays really lovely on me, and I love the sort of base that it gets from the woodiness. This is glorious. Other fragrances that I have or I've had the opportunity to check out and I think are wonderful: Sacred Water, Hypnotizing Fire. Hypnotizing Fire is hypnotizing and mesmerizing. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's floral. It has just the right amount of patchouli to make it sexy. Like sometimes just the right dose of patchouli gives a fragrance some va va voom factor. And it has vanilla and other fantastic notes. Yin Transformation, there's the eau de parfum and there is the parfum version. I have the parfum version of Yin Transformation. It's a very clean smelling, serene sort of spa like smell with some muskiness and like some milkiness to it. Now, fragrances that I think I want to add to cart. A while back from Roja, I tried Elysium Parfum, which I really enjoyed. I didn't want to pay the full price for the fragrance, and it gave me this sort of very happy 80s-esque smell. It's been compared to Estee Lauder Beyond Paradise, if you remember that fragrance in the sort of teardrop bottle that had it's almost like sunset colors and ombre effect in it. I really enjoyed that fragrance. In fact, I purchased it again recently off of Mercari and it had gone bad. And so by the time it got to me, I could not enjoy it. You could sort of smell the essence of it in there, but then you get that sort of like also like vinegary smell when a fragrance has gone bad. So anyway, Elysium Parfum reminded me of that. And at 30% off, this is one that may come home to me. And then I would also like your thoughts on Dusita. And that is a house that I sampled a while back with some of my peers here on YouTube. We did a video where we did like a round robin smelling of some of these fragrances. There's Moonlight in Chiang Mai that I'm interested in. Anam Cara I'm also looking at. So I'd love to get your thoughts. I may have to go back to my own video and see what my thoughts were, but I'm curious to try them out. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to mention that Banana Republic and Tumi, Christian Siriano, and Lalique, those four brands are 40% off. Where is my mind? Forgive me. So these Tumi fragrances and the Banana Republic of the ones that I mentioned are actually 40% off. So listen, it's hard to get a better bargain than that on these. So as I mentioned, the sale starts today, Friday, and goes through Monday. And you can use the code Veronica30. The link will be in the description box if you need it, or you can just type in So Avant Garde perfume into Google and it'll take you right there. Be sure to check out those other videos in the playlist if you want to hear about some more recommendations. And then remember those other brands that I mentioned at the start, but I didn't talk about because I think you know all about them already. Parfums de Marly, Fragrance du Bois, Widian, Clive Christian, New Notes, Mancera, the list goes on and on. In fact, when you go to So Avant Garde, you can click on the top on the word brands and it drops down a full menu of the brands and you can look for the ones that you're interested in. If you do happen to shop the sale, thank you so much. I appreciate that you used my affiliate code. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Happy shopping. Drop your notes in the comments, ask each other questions in the comments, your opinions on fragrances and so forth, and let us know what you intend to pick up if you are shopping. And if you just happen to watch today with your cup of coffee and you don't want to shop, that's totally fine too. Appreciate you spending some time with us. Take care, everyone.